Hey, Troy from hittingitsolid.com here. Thanks for watching. Golf setup mistakes. Could you tell the difference between those first two swings I did? Well, the first one had a very poor golf setup and the second one had a really good one. So let me explain. Because how you're set up to the ball can have a really big impact on the sort of strike you make, whether you stay in posture. It really has a massive influence on that. And I bet if you've played around on a weekend with your buddies, you can probably spot someone that has a poor posture. Straight away, it just doesn't look right, doesn't look comfortable. So the first one, I was set up a bit further away from the ball and I was really leaned over quite a lot like this. Really had it actually looks, a lot of the time it actually looks really good when you see it because they have a nice straight back. I've got my pelvis, my butt pushed way back. The problem is if you're set up like this, it's extremely difficult to rotate and make any sort of power or, I guess, effortless or efficient golf swing. Because when you're set up like this, I can barely turn. It's really difficult to sort of turn much further than this. I can feel the strain in my back. I'm pushing my pelvis way back there. You know, you get guys like, I love watching Adam Scott play. He looks fantastic and his posture looks amazing over the ball, but he has such a straight back and looks so athletic. He can obviously do that. He has a nice straight back. He can practice, and he obviously does practice and been doing it for years, every day hitting shots, and he's obviously got the core strength and the physical ability to set up like that and still hit great shots. But for you and I, who might just be playing on the weekend or just catching up with our friends every now and again, if we set up like that, we're probably not going to be too successful in our golf. And if you have a look at, I think Jack Nicklaus is a fantastic example from years ago. If you have a look at him, he's just set up a lot more upright, and he'd have a sort of a straight back, and then he'd have a bit of a curve, a bit of a hunch at the top. I don't know if I'm quite getting it right, but it sort of looks something like this. But it'd be nice and upright. His pelvis would be tucked nicely under. Just have a little bit of bend in his knees. But it'd be in this sort of position like this. And whilst it didn't look quite probably as athletic as some of the best players today, but it was a very efficient way of setting up, makes it easy to rotate, helps you stay in posture. It's just, I think, a lot simpler way to do it than some of the modern way, which really teaches you to really push your butt out, your pelvis out, and really keep a super straight back. It's just very difficult to rotate when you're set up, like trying to keep your back dead straight. I can just feel the tension in my back just setting up like that. It's not easy at all. And I think if you look at someone like Jack Nicklaus, he's just a great example. Nice and natural, a little bit taller over the ball. Arms just hanging down naturally. And from here, this pelvis a little bit more in line here, it's a lot easier to just make a decent rotation. I can sort of stay in posture better and easier to get through the ball. It's a lot simpler way, I think, for most of you to set up to the ball and play a lot more consistent. So if you've been struggling, have a look at your posture and see if that might be the reason, because invariably, and I see this all the time, people send me their videos, and you might have been one of them, and the first thing I look at is posture. I look at how far away from the ball, because what happens if you're too far away from the ball or you have too straight a back, invariably what's going to happen, you're going to be diving forward like that. Your body is going to be constantly moving to maintain balance. That's its job during the golf swing, to help you stay balanced. And if you can get in something like what Jack does, a little bit taller, pelvis more on top of the hips there, not pushed back, you'll find it's a lot easier to make rotation, a lot easier to maintain your height. You're not dipping down like this. Helps with weight shift as well. Helps get that pressure there easier. Pressure there to the forward side easier. A lot of really positive things. So if you think that will help you out, make sure you smash that like button. Drop a comment if you've tried the modern way of really sticking your butt out and keeping a straight back. Has it worked for you? Maybe it hasn't. Drop a comment, I will get back to you. Now let me show you how you can practice this just coming up. Okay, let's hit a couple of swings, doing it the Jack way and a more natural way for your setup. And I think if you do this, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how well you might strike the ball. So I'll set up to one here. Just going to set up a little bit taller. Going to get my pelvis a little bit more underneath me. I'm just going to make a nice easy swing. Nice easy strike, no effort whatsoever, and that all came from a nice setup. That's really all it came down to. There wasn't any effort to turn. All I did, a little bit taller, pelvis more underneath me, and we do it nice and slow. There you have it, guys. Give that a shot. Hope that helps you out. I've got a great video coming up, one of my most popular ones here online. It's all about weight shift and hip turn, which is going to help your golf swing out even further. So make sure you watch it. I'll see you on it.